It's Friday Eve, so you guys know what that means. It's time for another episode of We Real Chicago. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me as always, guys. So it's baseball season, and things are starting to heat up in the NBA as well. This week's episode of We Real Chicago is gonna be all about sports, and I couldn't do this one without some of the best voices in Chicago's sports world. So tonight's special guest are going to be co-founders Terrence Tomlin and Eugene McIntosh of the Bigs, and they're an independent Black-owned sports media outlet in the city. So don't move, stay tuned. These guys have all the access. They've got all the juice. They've got it all. You don't want to miss this. It's your boy Rome J, Triibe TV, We Real Chicago. Starts right now. Let's do it. What's going on, guys? This is Real Chicago. It's your boy Rome J, and we're doing things a little differently today. We're starting today's show off with the forecast, which is where I predict the next wave of Chicago artists. Let's go ahead and get it started. So Cupcake has been quiet but consistent, and she's well on her way to stardom, if you ask me. Dropping singles consistently for the past couple of months could mean she's working on a project, and if that's the case, then we just might have to have her come through and chop it up with us. And like I said, she's been very active lately, recently dropping 2 songs that I want to highlight for this week's forecast playlist, and they came with visuals, which we always enjoy. Mickey by Cupcake is a tale of a woman scorned who decided to deal with a cheater in her own way. If you've ever seen It's a Thin Line Between Love and Hate, y'all know with Martin and good old Angela. Well, this is giving me those type of vibes. And I mean, she goes from talking about how disgusted she is that dude cheated to instantly not caring and bossing up on him right away, right? And the whole time, like, dude is tied up in the video. She's going off with the knives. Y'all know, thin line between love and hate. But yeah, anyways, the video is crazy, and I appreciate Cupcake for her emotion, you know, which she always brings. And this next song is no exception. That's Mosh Pit by Cupcake. Also makes this week's forecast playlist, and it's the second song and visual Cupcake has put out this week. So this song has tons of energy, and Cupcake definitely turns her savage up. I mean, she's even angry while describing a dinner date that went bad, and I guess, you know, these men just can't do right by her. They can't get right. But anyways, this is a banger, and it's a turn-up song for show, and it's already turned up with 93,000 views in less than a week's time. That's Mosh Pit. I'm about to put a hole in them. Yeah, Cupcake. She chose violence this time. So shout out to Cupcake with the multiple drops this month. And there's tons of good music dropping every week. That's what we try to highlight here on the forecast. Weasel Sims hit us up, and his new project is fire. It's called Aim High. There's his cover art for it right there. So apparently Weasel Sims has been on house arrest for the last couple of years, and he's been making really good music in the meantime. His singles Sold Separate and Jim Carreyin are straight heat, and they deserve a listen, making this week's playlist for sure. And I actually recommend listening to his entire project. Shout out to Weasel Sims doing this thing. Kingpin Rue. He's been around for a while in rap circles in Chicago, probably best known for his song Stony Altima. He's got a new song, Ladies Night, featuring Chanel True. It's a rum shaker for show. So make sure you guys give that a listen. It stays true to his style. He's a party artist, so it's a really dope song. Good sound for him. And of course, we got Queen Key, the queen, with her own version of beatbox. And, you know, whatever, no matter how many people rap on this beat, Queen Key definitely has a way of making it her own. So shout out to the queen. And yeah, there we have it. The playlist is live right now on YouTube. So if you guys need some new heat, make sure to check it out. And our past playlists from other shows, they're available as well, all on YouTube. It's like a good steady timeline now of Chicago music so far throughout the year. So yeah, that's our forecast playlist. And now it's time to bring on my special guest for the evening. All right, here with me tonight are the underground kings of Chicago sports, Terrence Tomlin and Eugene McIntosh of the Bigs. The Bigs, they're an independent Black-owned media outlet that offers unique and authentic coverage of Chicago sports. Right now, we want to go ahead and take the time to welcome them to the show. Welcome to We Real Chicago, Terrence and Eugene, also known as the Bigs. Thanks for joining us, fellas. What's going on? How y'all feeling, fellas?
What's going on, Rome? You know it's always good when we link up with one of our brothers, bro.
Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure always. What's going on, Gene?
Yes, sir. Good to see you, my brother. Always a pleasure to lock in with the Triibe family. You feel me?
Hey, it's good to see brothers above ground, healthy, well, and not only that, but thriving, to say the least. So always blessings, of course, fellas. And you know, when we link, it's always a good time. But for those who don't know, tell us why you guys started the Bigs. You know, just tell us the Bigs.
Oh man, I feel like, of course, our Tribe family knows the story, but for anybody who doesn't know, I have a history, a background, in journalism. I spent, a lot of time at the Chicago Defender, and I feel like while I was there, bro, I spent a lot of time watching, our prestigious outlets get kind of dismantled. So the Bigs was created, to fight back against what was happening to Black media around that time. I feel like especially, people around my age felt a responsibility to cultivate something original or something new, something that we could have and call our own, and basically turn into an inclusive, media outlet where we're bringing people along and growing and competing, with the major outlets in the city, man. And when you consider what kind of, sports town Chicago is, it's no easy task to pull an audience away from, some of the major outlets here. But, Eugene and I have found a lane and been able to do our thing in it, and provide something real and authentic. And honestly, I feel like that's what was missing from the sports media industry in Chicago when we started, man. It's a lot of generic stories. You feel me? And on our show, On the Soil, Eugene has a one of the things he says, Eugene is a wise dude. He says a few things, but one of my favorite things is, man, is as long as we're not telling our stories, man, we get further and further away from the truth. So, and that's really what goes on in the media, man. So we just try to lend our voices to the industry, to bring our audience closer to the truth, and that's what we've been doing since 2015.
Yeah, spoken like a genius, man. I mean, T hit it on all angles, man. We a little bit more of a history of it, though. Me and T have been friends for a couple of years, and like he said, he had a background in media, graduated from Morgan State, and then holding different positions in Chicago media. What were you, manager, editor at the prestigious historic Chicago Defender?
I was.
Okay.
And, yeah, T was coming through the crib, and we would just chop it up, be watching the games, kicking it, and then one day he asked me, he said it was something missing, and he thought that I would fit perfect in what he was trying to do. And me having if you want to call it prestigious sports background,
you're a living Chicago legend, bro.
I went to Mount Carmel High School, so I played with should be Hall of Fame quarterback Donovan McNabb and be NBA Hall of Fame, NCAA champion and NBA champion Antoine Walker.
Definitely.
Having that sports background and T having that media background, I guess it was the perfect merging of identity. So we formed the Bigs in 2015, and it's been a roller coaster ride ever since, brother.
Yeah, most definitely. And 2015, it seems like, it's so long ago now. It's crazy. How time flies. Tribe's kind of been around since the same kind of time period. We were swirling around ideas back then. Since then, what's been the most iconic moment that you guys have witnessed while covering Chicago sports?
Gino, you want to go first with that one?
Oh, it's a no-brainer for me. The 2016 World Series champion Chicago Cubs, man. Me and T we feel like, we were the gym behind that magical season because it was actually our first year on the beat with the Cubs. So, we did every game. We were on the beat. We traveled a lot during that season, but we covered every game of the playoffs. So we traveled to Los Angeles for the NLCS against the Dodgers, and we traveled back and forth to Cleveland for the World Series. So, just being on the beat that first year, being able to build relationships with the players and the owners and Joe Madden and all of the people around Cubs Nation, and just being able to be a part of maybe the biggest sports moment in Chicago history, definitely top 3, but seeing that it was 108 years since they had won a title, I feel like that's probably the most historic moment in Chicago sports history. And us being front and center, and plus bringing just a different edge and a different view and a different vantage point to an audience that really hadn't been catered to. I feel like that's what we, cherish the most. And then one particular thing, man, when we got to the World Series in Cleveland, and there were all, like Rome, when I tell you there were like 160 different outlets spread throughout just so many different parts of the stadium, and me and T being the only independent Black-owned company in there, being able to build with some of the people that we grew up watching and listening to, and watching them ride and just becoming the people they were, and just being a part of that was probably, not even probably, it was the most historic time for me.
That's crazy. That's crazy. T, yeah. What you got to add here, T?
Oh no, that was real special, and that's coming from a guy that grew up as a White Sox fan. You know what I mean? That was definitely real special. But honestly, I gotta say, being able to cover Kobe Bryant's last 2 games versus the Bulls in his last season, we traveled out to LA, and covered his last game versus the Bulls at Staples Center, and then a couple months later at the United Center, his last time in Chicago. And of course, that moment has picked up, a little bit more meaning over the last year with him passing and everything. But even in the moment, to stand there, with me and Gene, honestly, I feel like we were the only media members to get autographs, bro. But Kobe was absolutely, very, very real about it. We were able to ask him a couple of questions. He acknowledged us in a couple of the videos we made, and that meant the world, coming up. And I'm sure Gene agrees. He was top 1 to top 2, for both of us. And I see you guys are putting it up there now. The Tribe gave me an opportunity, to express my feelings for, Kobe after, we lost him at the top of 2020, man. But yeah, just being on the court with Kobe right before he did his thing, I don't know if anything will ever beat that for me,
Wow, no, must have been a special moment, and we'll get to Kobe a little bit later on. Of course, you guys probably heard about the Nike news, and we'll get to that later on. But as for right now, it's time for the Rome J Report, and the Rome J Report is where I talk about Chicago arts and entertainment news. But of course, we do things our own way. So, fellas, you guys are going to be my co-anchors for this segment. I'm ready if you guys are. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's get it started. So, first up, Summertime Shy is almost here. Look at that. Oh, man. And one of the things I love to do, of course, is watch the fireworks at Navy Pier. That was pre-COVID, of course, way back when, right? Terrence, Eugene, did y'all ever catch the fireworks at Navy Pier? Maybe date night, maybe as children, maybe if you're taking your kids there. What's going on, guys?
Absolutely. Like you said, that's one of the go-to moves over the summer, man. And especially in my younger days when I was really out here. That was definitely
really out here, huh?
Yeah, that was a secret move. Oh yeah, we hitting the fireworks at Navy Pier, then it's whatever after that. So
yeah, don't give it all away. Don't say too much. Yeah. Don't give it all up. Don't give it all up. Well, Navy Pier is planning to open back up starting next Friday, April 30th. And the reopening will be phased in, and select spaces at the pier will be open in the first phase. Visitors will be required to wear face masks at all times and will have to follow social distancing guidelines and other COVID-19 safety protocols to keep everyone safe. Navy Pier made the announcement on Tuesday, and it closed temporarily last September to save money due to the COVID-19 pandemic, of course. Now, to celebrate its reopening, the pier will host a 10-minute fireworks show every Saturday in May. It's starting at 9 p.m. And be sure to check out NavyPier.org for more details about the reopening. All right. So, hey, man, you're going to be able to bust that move yet once again.
Where
Yes,
he,
sir,
like
Ron.
you said, where he was really out here.
Yeah, that was
I
when.
made sure I said in my younger days.
Hey, you cool now? Everybody got a mask on, no face, no case. We can all be at the fireworks. but anyways, next up on the Rome J Report, it's your boy Rome J. I'm here with the bigs, Tribe TV, Real Chicago. Now I told y'all Polo G was coming last week, and the Chicago's rapper's single Rap Star is now number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Fellas, are y'all a fan of Polo G? Eugene, do you do Polo G?
I'm a fan of all of the Chicago guys, man. Drill, hip hop, whatever sound is coming from the crib, and these guys is becoming successful and able to take care of their friends and family. I'm up with all of it. It's great to see Polo G coming from. Where's Polo G from? Is he from like almost the north side?
Yeah, he's from the north side.
Yeah. So the north side usually doesn't get the type of shine that the west side and the south side get as far as artists. So it's good to see Polo represent. But I'm gonna have to check this track out, man. Since it's number 1 on the Hot 100 Billboard, I got to check it out, bro.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so Polo G's the new song, it beat Lil Nas' ex Montero.
Wow.
Call Me By My Name. Yeah, it also beat Leave the Door Open. I'ma leave the door open. I'ma leave the door open.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they beat the Silk Sonic, and I really like that joint.
Get him wrong.
Yeah, and I feel the way I feel. I like that joint. It reminds me of something my pops or something would be listening to. So whenever I can listen to music with the kids around and with the parents around, that's good music to me.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm excited to see Polo win, man, and I'm looking forward to what he's got coming up next. So shout out to Polo. That's a big win for Chicago. Whenever somebody gets the number 1 record, he's got the number 1 record in the world right now. So shout out to Polo. He's like 21, 22 years old, something like that. So it's ridiculous.
And isn't his mom his manager?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and in all his visuals, he's got his little sisters and stuff in the videos, which is awesome. So
Okay.
That's dope to see.
Yeah, man. Shout out Polo, man.
Yeah. All right. Next up on the Rome J Report, calling all college journalism students. Next Friday, April 30th, is the last day to apply for the Chicago chapter of the National Association of Black Journalists 2021 scholarship. This year, one of the scholarships awarded will be in memory of Eugene Standback, a former photojournalist at ABC 7 Chicago who passed away from COVID-19 last year. The scholarship is for students that are interested in becoming photographers for a television station, newspaper, magazine, or digital news outlet. Now, for more information about NABJ and the scholarship, visit nabjchicago.org. Fellas, how important is it that we help the next generation of Black journalists? Terrence, please, could you talk to us about this one?
Oh man, it's my pleasure. This is one of my favorite things to speak on, bro, because it's absolutely essential. Long story short, journalism saved my life, man, and gave me a purpose bigger than myself that and put me on a journey that I'm still going through today. And any chance that we get to show the younger generation, a little bit more about this path, I wholeheartedly feel that you're going to get more people involved in journalism. So it's totally important that we get the younger generation involved in journalism, a little bit younger than we may have gotten involved in it. Because honestly, it really, and I can't speak for every journalist, but I know it wasn't until college until I chose this path. So And then once I got involved in it, of course, I had moments where I felt like, man, I wonder what it would have been like if I got into this a little earlier. So I'm happy to see the NABJ, continuing to lead those efforts and get the younger generation involved. So, shout out to them as well.
Yeah, to learn how to write will help. With public speaking, and just when you sharpen that public speaking skill, and you just sharpen those skills up, it just you become a leader. It helps. So Black journalists, shout out to them. Shout out to the NABJ scholarships. Very, very important. And I also got a retraction to make. When we were talking about the music Cupcake, I referenced Thin Line Between Love and Hate. That's not Angela Bassett. That's her twin, Lynn Whitfield. Who else makes that mistake? Lynn Whitfield. Angela Bassett. Is it just me?
You're a fool, man.
Rome, it's all good because remember we were there All-Star Weekend with the Migos.
So man.
We know how it goes, bro.
Hey,
I'm calling the Migos the wrong. I got the wrong Migos. So it don't even matter. But anyways, thanks y'all for joining me for the Rome J Report. And now we're ready for the segment. We haven't done this segment since the last time, fellas, y'all was on this show. And now we're gonna bring it back. This is the big segment, and we're ready for the locker room. Let's go ahead and do it. So y'all are working. Y'all are working. Y'all are back in motion. Baseball season is in full effect. The Sox and the Cubs are back to having their games with the fans back in the stands and the stadiums. Terrence, were you able to watch the games from the field last year, or were you watching them from home? Fellas, just like, what's the vibe like now at the baseball games now that the fans are back, please?
Rome, it definitely wasn't the same. Although we did get to take in a few of the baseball games from the press box during the 60-game season last year. It wasn't the same without fans there at all. The only thing that I really liked about it is that the parking lot was empty and I could get to the park a little bit later. Like now that the fans are back, you got to get to the park early again because the parking lot is going to be full. But man, the fans are a huge part of the game, man. And honestly, without them there last year, it just was kind of boring. And then when you add on the fact that you didn't have the locker room access that we were used to, and everything was kind of carried out through Zoom or some kind of, digital space, I feel like I'm still kind of getting used to it, even though, a year into it, it's going to be a Zoom. You're kind of used to the process, but right. I still really miss being able to be in front of the players after the games, and honestly, I'm not sure when we're going to get that opportunity again. So,
yeah, and it definitely makes you appreciate it a little bit more, I'm sure. Eugene, what's the vibe like now at the baseball games, man, with the fans back in the stadium? How do you feel about it, brother?
Oh, it's great, man. Like T said, going through that whole thing last year with no fans and, just showing up to the ballpark and, no vendors, nobody selling merch, just all of the things that make these games what they are. Without them, like you just said, Rome, it gives you a different outlook on it when you kind of resume some type of normalcy. So I'm glad when I get to the ballpark and I smell bratwurst and I smell brew and I, the smell of baseball. It was, you smell the grass and you smell the baseball in the air, but it's nothing like it with the food and the beer and the fans. So it's been good to see fans back in the building. And Cubs fans are different. The last couple of nights has been 35 and 36 degrees, and you would think it was 85 the way I swear, the way they show up and show out at Wrigley Field, it's always a special time. I tell T, it's nothing like showing up at the most beautiful ballpark in all of baseball, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Eugene, and we love our baseball teams here in the city, and we love the rivalry, the ancient rivalry, and let's be honest though, whose games have been more exciting right now? And fellas, I'll just let you guys take it over in whatever order. Please, whose games have been more exciting? And then we'll start to talk about the Cubs. But
I don't know, Gino. That may be, a losing battle for both sides of town right now. I mean, I did get to cover Carlos Rodon's no hitter,
right?
But you got a 16-run game last night,
right?
Yeah, I mean, Gino, I don't know. It's kind of it's kind of a draw at this point, man. The White Sox are 9-9, and haven't been too exciting. I know it's still early,
right?
But as far as excitement, bro, I'm waiting. I'm still waiting for a chance to get super excited about this White Sox teams. They've had their moments. You got a guy like Yermin Mercedes on the White Sox who's done his thing and looks like a special rookie. You got Tim Anderson, who is just a special player. You know what I mean? Every season it seems like he gets a little bit better. And then of course you got the reigning MVP and Jose Abreu. And when it comes to Jose, I feel like once he heats up, the team will heat up. So I'm patient. I understand that baseball is a marathon. It's not really a sprint. And although I'm sure fans, were expecting, the guys to come out of the gate a little stronger, I'm totally still confident that these guys are going to find a way to turn it around and get on the, the winning side of things. But as far as excitement early on, I'm going to have to pass it to my man, Gino. I'm hoping we get a little bit more excitement in this White Sox, the next home series starting tomorrow versus the Rangers, versus Texas. So, Gino, you may have me beat on the excitement scale right now.
Man, I feel like the only reason that the Cubs season may be more exciting at this point in time, 18 games in, is just because this is the last dance. Well, it could be the last dance. I'm not going to say it is. It could be the last dance for, the rest of, I would say, the leftover guys from the World Series teams, meaning, hey, Kyle Hendricks, Javi, KB, Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras. I don't think all of those guys will be back after this season. And I feel like you said, T, it's very early in the season, so baseball is a very long season. Can't panic too early, but for the White Sox, Sox Nation, I'm pretty sure that they thought the Sox would have gotten off to a much better start than they did. But, when Tim Anderson went down early in the season, he's your leadoff hitter. He's the spark. He's the glue to the team. So I think that kind of set them back a minute. But I'm not worried about the White Sox. They'll get back on that square, and they'll be I feel like they'll still be AL champions. But for the North side, man, I don't think anybody in Cubs Nation, if you are upset, then you should be upset at yourself for being upset at the Cubs, because to be honest, this is what I expected. I'm always, when me and T talk about this all the time, when you got Baez, Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Wilson Contreras, I don't think there's a better four-man lineup, maybe 2 through 5 in Major League Baseball than those guys when they are on point. So it's been a tough start for those guys, especially starting pitching wise. Jake Arrieta, who was probably the Cubs' best pitcher that World Series year, he returned after 3 years in Philly, and he's actually been the best pitcher the Cubs have so far. So again, it's very early in the season. Neither side should panic, but yeah, I'm going to take the lead with T on this one, man. I'm going to say the Cubs season has been a little more exciting just because they've been able to put up some huge offensive numbers the last, 2 out of the last 4 games. So it's been exciting to watch that.
And Gino, real quick, I just want to piggyback on something you said because, just to offer a little bit of context, the White Sox have had a few injuries. Tim Anderson spent 10 days on the DL. Adam Engel, Lance Lynn, Billy Hamilton has been on the disabled list. And then, of course, Eloy Jimenez, we lost him for basically the whole year before the season started.
Yeah.
So I guess when you consider all of those things, being 9-9 right now is not too bad. It definitely could be worse. And then when you look at the division, nobody's really running away with it early or doing anything special to start the season. So if you're a White Sox fan, you're okay. You're kind of like, yeah, we could be better, but it is what it is right now.
Yeah, and growing up in the northern suburbs, we were kind of force fed the Cubs, with WGN and in that
Oh
Sammy
yeah.
Sosa era, and just traditionally what they did with the Cubs on the in the north side, so we were kind of force fed the Cubs over where I'm from, and I plan to talk about the Cubs offense first. When we first planned on having you guys on earlier in the week, their offense wasn't really looking too good. And, to be fair, they did win their last game. They scored 16 runs. Like Terrence, was this more of a fluke, or, can we say the offense is back on track? Like
Whew. Yeah, me and Gene have had some good debates over the last couple of weeks about the Cubs offense, because I totally feel like this is, just an aberration. This is just something that will happen every blue moon with this Cubs offense. Because when you take a little deeper look at what's been going on with the guys, Javier Baez, our boy El Mago, he's been swinging and missing about 50% of the time, man, and that's really kind of crazy when you consider how good he was a few years ago, man. So, do I feel like this offense will have days and nights where they can pour in a bunch of runs? Yes, but as we've seen early on in this season, man, these guys still struggle to do it on a consistent basis. And if this is a springboard, if this is a game that they can kind of turn it into something that, we can see some more consistency, then cool. But over the last couple of years, this is kind of what we've seen, a cold offense that can get hot for a couple of games here and there. So until they do it for a stretch of time, man, you're going to have to count me out on the Cubs offense.
Gene, before yesterday's game, the Cubs were averaging like two, almost 3 runs a game. Does this look like a problem that's been fixed?
Well, this has been the same issue for the Cubs offense since 2018. So you've come to expect, when these things happen, when the offense isn't clicking and when they go through these droughts, it's what you expect. So I am with T. I do feel like, and let's get it straight. They scored 13 runs against Atlanta. Then they scored 16 runs last night against the Mets. Now, I don't expect them to continue to put those numbers up, but what I did like most about what they did last night specifically, they scored 16 runs and there was only one home run. So me and T talk about this all the time. And, baseball fans, I think, are the most intricate sports fans, because it's so much more about what you see on the field. So when you look at the Cubs' approach to the plate last night, a lot of guys kind of cut down on their swings. They weren't looking to hit the ball out of the ballpark. They kind of stayed up the middle to the right side, using the whole field and just keeping the train going for the next man to come up and, continue to contribute to the lineup. So I did like what I saw from them last night. And if they can continue that, then I think this could be a pretty good offense this year. But from what I've seen from the last 3 years, I'm with T. I do not expect these guys to, put up these outstanding offensive outputs every day. Now, if the starting pitching could, give Jake Arrieta outings, at least 5 innings, and then hand it over to the bullpen. I have a hashtag that I use because the bullpen has been kind of terrible the last few years. So I use a hashtag called surviving the bullpen.
Facts.
And if the starting pitching can go at least 5 innings and hand that ball off to those guys, I think the Cubs have good righties and lefties down there in the bullpen. And you got a guy like Alec Mills, who threw a no-hitter last year, who will probably be, somewhat of a spot starter. If you need him to fill in real quick, he can do that. If you need him to go long stretches in relief, he can do that. If you need him to close, I think Alec Mills has probably been the best asset to the Cubs pitching staff so far. So again, if the starting pitching can go at least 5 innings, I think the Cubs will be in good hands if they can put up 3 or 4 runs a game.
Yeah, so big improvement with the Cubs, even from last Friday where they went like 0-8 when runners were in scoring position with the Braves. So looked like they've improved at least since that outing, which is when we were like, we knew you guys were coming going. So I had all those stats, and it's like, oh damn, they're playing good again. So whatever. All right. So baseball has a very interesting history in the Black community, to say the least. All right. In our parents' times, it was a popular pastime. All my uncles played baseball. That was the sport in the 60s, 70s, 80s. If you were Black, it really was one of those. And in 2015, comedian Chris Rock did a 7-minute monologue on HBO's Real Sports about why the MLB didn't appeal to most Black folks as it did in the past. Baseball is still a super Caucasian sport at this moment. The NBA, on the other hand, does an amazing job at marketing their players. Plus, the NBA is also just a bit more popular among a variety of racial groups and has a much younger audience. They have younger events that appeal to people, the dunk contest and things of that nature. And, I remember how excited I was back in the day to watch Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., Black players, Sammy Sosa, I'm going to say is Black, Jermaine Dye, was it Frank Thomas, you know what I'm saying? I was excited to see those type of people on the screen as a child. And Terrence, do you think the major leagues have they gotten better over the last 6 years in appealing to Black people?
Absolutely not, Rome. Unfortunately, bro, they've gotten worse. And we've seen it on full display, over the last year when it is come to their attempts at having a social justice message. I feel like they continually miss the mark when it comes to trying to connect to a Black audience. Mainly because I don't think they really care, and it's hard to do something meaningful when you don't really care. We've seen instances where Tim Anderson a couple years ago got suspended for saying the word nigga. You know what I mean? And that honestly was another look inside to see that these guys really don't have any interest in understanding the nuances when it comes to their Black players. And just stay at the White Sox clubhouse. He's the only Black player in that clubhouse, and then when you look around the league, it's teams that don't even have Black players, in 2020. So I feel like, especially when it comes to Black stars, it has to be tough out here for young fans to find somebody they truly identify with, because the league doesn't do a good job at putting their best players, which just so happen to be Black. You look at Fernando Tatis Jr., he's the best player in baseball right now. You look at Mookie Betts, who's a 2-time World Series champion now, and
the best player in baseball.
Yeah, the best player in baseball. And you'll be hard pressed to, you'll be in a room, you're gonna find some people that don't know what Mookie Betts looks like, and that's unfortunate. They definitely have to do a better job, because the players that you named, Rome, the players that we grew up on, we grew up with Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Thomas, Kenny Lofton,
Frank the Tank.
Yeah, Jermaine Dye, Barry Bonds. And the list goes on and on and on. And you kind of gotta, if you're not like plugged in the way me and Gene are, you may have to do your Googles to find the Black players these days. And I feel like the league definitely just has to do a lot better, bro.
I had to Google. Y'all know I had to Google. I don't know who the Black players are anymore. So Gene, how can, if they were to try, how could the major leagues, how could they reach more of a Black audience?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because the players themselves have made their own initiative. It's called the Players Alliance. And it was formed by Curtis Granderson, former Major League ball player. I think he was a 2-3-time All-Star. He was actually born in Blue Island, and he played at UIC. He played 16 years in the league. CC Sabathia, but a couple other guys, Cameron Maben, who played for the Cubs last year. They formed this thing called the Players Alliance, and it's probably 150, a little bit over 150 current and former Black Major League Baseball players whose initiative is basically to, go in the hood and be more of a voice and be more of a presence in the hood, to impoverish communities and to spread awareness and to get these kids. Baseball is not like it was when we were coming up, Ron. Baseball is very expensive to play. Spikes, cleats are $100, gloves are $100.
Big old baseball bags they be carrying around.
Bags are $100. Bats are hundreds of dollars. So the average Black parents, single mom family, they can't afford that stuff. So I think the Players Alliance has done a great job in trying to give back and trying to start something to kind of cater to Black players. But then when you look and something T said, something I noticed yesterday, and this is on Major League Baseball, D. Gordon. This is a guy who's a two-time All-Star. He has a career batting average of 286, a career on-base percentage of 360, and this guy is looking for a job right now. Like, he's in AAA with the Milwaukee Brewers. And it's a travesty, a sham, and a mockery that Black players have to be twice as good, 3 times as good as a white player to get the notoriety and just to get the chance to be able to play at the highest level. So it starts at a young age. I went through it myself. And like I said, some of these Black kids, you got a guy like Ed Howard, who the Cubs just signed, who was drafted from my alma mater, Mount Carmel, last year. He was the Cubs' first-round draft pick. And, he's an anomaly. He was on that Jackie Robinson West team that played in the 2014 Little League World Series. And, he was just that good. And you can't turn a kid like that down. But most guys, a lot of these kids, they grow up in the hood. They play at Simeon. They play at Harlan. They play at these inner city schools that a lot of scouts are scared to come into the neighborhood to watch. So it's just a lot of unfortunate situations that these kids have to go through, which limits them and limits their chances of reaching that ultimate goal, man.
Most definitely. Now we're going to take some time and let's quickly talk about the White Sox. And, it's early, but they're looking pretty good. Eugene, what do they need to do to get back in the playoffs? They're currently second in the AL Central, sitting at 9-9 right now.
Nothing. Just continue to, again, me and T have these same conversations on a daily basis. Rome, baseball is a game of failure, bro. If you succeed 3 times out of 10, then you're a Hall of Famer. In no other sport, if you shoot 30% in the NBA, where will you be at the end of the season? Looking for a job. Yeah. If your quarterback has a 30% completion percentage at the end of a 16-game NFL season, he's done. If you get 3 hits in every 10 plate appearances in Major League Baseball, you are going to the Hall of Fame. So, so you got to, all those guys, they have to remember what got them here. They made the playoffs last year. I think adding Tony La Russa as the head coach, who has a proven track record, World Series, Hall of Fame. I felt like adding his old school mentality to, Sox got a few vets over there, like T said, Dallas Keuchel, Lance Lynn, Jose Abreu was there when the Sox was stinking the AL Central up. So they have a couple of vets who can lead the way with guys like Tim Anderson, Yoan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, the guys who are going to be around for the next 6, 7, 8 years to lead the franchise. But they just got to get back to having fun and knowing that the target is on their back, because Tim Anderson, before the season started, he said that they were the best effing team in the American League. So he has to know that the target is out. And as long as they continue to have fun, stay healthy, and, don't get too high when things are going well. Don't get too low when they're not. I think those guys will be just fine.
Terrence, I want to get to you, but I want to pivot into the NBA, if that's okay with you fellas. We're exactly 1 month away from the start of the NBA playoffs, just about, and this year has flown by. What Bulls players have given the best post-game interviews this season, Terrence? What Bulls players have given the best post-game interviews?
You know what? I can't even say that it's a player. I got to go with Coach Billy Donovan, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Billy Donovan has come in and honestly, I feel like being pretty on point and really kind of aligned with what the fans have been saying over the last few seasons. He hasn't really held any punches on guys like Kobe White and Lauri Markkanen, who we've seen drop through the rotation.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what needed to happen this year. So
yeah.
even though I feel like right now the state of the Bulls, like it's still a bunch of work to do. And I feel like I always get put in check a little bit with Gino when we start to talk about the Bulls because I don't want to get too high. You feel me? I don't want to get too high on what's going on with the guys right now because it's still kind of stinky over there. But I feel like Billy Donovan, when it comes to head coaches, and what he came into, I feel like he's kind of weaved through a lot of the BS and a lot of the garbage that was here and is in position for to have a big summer when it comes to free agency and the draft. So even though it's not showing in the win column just yet, I feel like the guys in charge are the right guys for the job. So it's what they say, Rome. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it, bro.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. And yesterday marked the 25th anniversary of the Bulls' 72-win season. And it's clear, we're nowhere near that historic season. The bar has been set so high by the GOAT. But anyways, the Bulls played the Cavs last night in a losing effort, 105-121. Gene, is it possible for the Bulls to at least finish somewhere around, I think this is a productive season if they can finish in and around 500, close around that 500 mark, looking to the future, which I think is bright.
Oh, man. It's tough, Rome. Again, these are conversations that me and T have all the time. And I told him that, a lot of people think that the Bulls, if they do make the playoffs, it's going to be an easy, if they do make that play-in series and they happen to be the 7th or 8th seed, then they're going to have to face the 1 or 2 seed. And it's most likely going to be a 4-0, a 4-0 sweep. They may win one game just because that's how the NBA works. But I feel like making the playoffs bodes well for any team that's looking to build in the future because you want guys who you think. Now, this is the interesting thing, though, because the Bulls, I think, with Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley taking over, from Gar Pax, the only guys that I think that they're married to on this roster now with the trade for Nikola Vucevic, I think Vuce and Patrick Williams are the only guys that they're married to. Now, I think, Zach LaVine is looking to be a max player, and he could definitely, get the most money from a max contract from the Bulls. Terrence doesn't seem to think that Zach LaVine is a max player. I don't agree with T, but I understand where he's coming from, and that's a whole nother story. But I do think that there's a slight chance these guys could make the play-in, and if they do, I think any playoff experience is good for these guys moving forward.
Yeah, and speaking of that 72-win season, this week also marked the 1-year anniversary of The Last Dance. Y'all recapped the episodes with us last year. So yeah, man, how does it feel just looking back on 1 year of The Last Dance, that historic footage we saw, all the things we learned? Terrence, break it down.
Man, it's crazy because I feel like that was like a championship years later after the fact. That was definitely just a dope moment for everybody everybody that lived through that in Chicago, man. But honestly, I can't believe it's been a year. It's like,
Facts.
man, that's one of the craziest. Because I'm just thinking about it right now. We had to get that a little bit early because it was supposed to come out in the summer of 2020, but the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic happened and they gave it to us a little early because everybody was at the crib.
We was
So,
restless. We was thirsty for it.
yeah, man. That was like the first taste of how it was going to be for the next year. You know, we got to take that in together, and honestly, the recaps were dope. But to see, you know, get that inside look at the '90s Bulls, bro, in that last run. You know, Scotty took a couple of strays. You know, the memes that we're still using to this day with Mike and the laptop. You know what I mean? All of that was great.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about. That was the first really big release during COVID. Now everybody's releasing their projects on these streaming apps. It's like if something comes out on HBO Max now, it's not a big deal. What is it? Mortal Kombat's coming out, I think, tomorrow on
That looks
HBO
super
Max
dope.
tomorrow. I don't even have to go to the movies because I got an HBO Max subscription. So,
Right.
so it's just strange now how the world's changed in a year. I remember this time last year I had like mad anxiety just staying in the crib, and now we're all used to it. So so yeah, moving on Monday, former Bulls small forward Scottie Pippen announced the death of his eldest son, Antron Pippen. He was 33 years old. Our sincerest condolences go out to Scottie and his family, of course. Relatedly, Michael Jordan will present Kobe Bryant for the NBA Basketball Hall of Fame induction. That ceremony is set to take place next month. It was scheduled for last August, but was postponed because of the pandemic. Now, we all know just how much MJ meant to Kobe and how much Kobe meant to Mike. What do you think about that, MJ giving the tribute, Eugene?
It's only right, man. It's only right that the GOAT presents the, what I call him, baby GOAT.
Oh yeah.
Because like, you know, if you grew up in my era, it's obvious, and there'll never be another. Nobody will ever top what Big Mike did for basketball for me. And you know, I was, you know, 13 to maybe I may have been 14 to 15 when the Bulls won their first ship. So, you know, that was my era, and I was able to witness, you know, Mike from his rookie year, you know, to his last year as a Bull. So, yeah, it was a no-brainer on Mike presenting Kobe, and you know, I'm sure Vanessa, you know, Kobe may have even had that in his will. I hate to kind of say that, but I'm pretty sure if, you know, Kobe's like, hey, look, if something's to happen to me in my Hall of Fame speech, only one guy, and it's got to be Big Mike. So we know that Mike is going to lace it. We know Mike is going to have some quotables for us, and it's going to be a special night, man. I'm pretty sure we'll see some tears shed, and it's going to be a special night, man.
Yeah. And you know, Terrence, you actually wrote a piece about what Kobe meant to Black Chicago. You mentioned it, you know, when he died last year. A lot of us, you know, Chicagoans, people from Illinois, hell, I even know some Wisconsinites, you know, all around Midwesterners. Most of us hated Kobe back in the day. I'm gonna just keep it real. Like I had I had a love for Allen Iverson. And like, you know, the whole East Coast versus West Coast thing was still very much so alive and well. And like Kobe kind of represented the West. And I kind of didn't like Kobe for most of my life. And you know, and y'all probably seen the news stories about Kobe. His contract with Nike expired last week. And both Nike and Kobe's estate said they will not renew the contract. I'll read it real brief. Here's what Vanessa Bryant had to say about the situation. My hope will always be to allow Kobe fans to get and wear his products, Vanessa Bryant said. I will continue to fight for that. Kobe's products sell out in seconds. That says everything. I was hoping to forge a lifelong partnership with Nike that reflects my husband's legacy. We will always do everything we can to honor Kobe and Gigi's legacy. That will never change. That's from Vanessa Bryant, of course. And so there's some speculation out there about this whole thing. I've heard, you know, Kobe was going to come out with his own shoe company. I've heard that, you know, the family is unhappy with the way they release the shoes. They don't make the shoes as available as they should. There's not enough sizes. It's not as accessible to children. Terrence, what have you heard? Can you guys imagine seeing Kobe's without a Nike symbol?
Yeah, I've heard the exact same, Roman. Honestly, a lot of the issues that Vanessa voiced in her statement, I feel like are the issues that a lot of real Kobe fans had. You know what I mean? You've seen the way that the Kobe merch has gone since he passed. Honestly, I don't know anybody that's had a real opportunity at the shoes. The jerseys have taken a long time to produce, and honestly, it kind of comes off as bad taste when it comes to Nike and how they've treated the Kobe line of merch since he's passed, and I don't blame Vanessa for being kind of uneasy about it. But when it comes to the contract, I just feel like it's a simple case of fumbling the bag on Nike's end. Kobe is one of the guys that after he passed. If Vanessa was the person they were negotiating with, it should have been whatever she said. You know what I mean? And whatever terms that she wanted to have as far as a new contract went, it should have been whatever she wanted. But with that said, I'm kind of interested in a new Kobe line. You know what I mean? I wonder what that would look like as far as different ways that they could honor him and Gigi. Where they don't have to deal with Nike and everything that comes along with that. So I'm clapping for Vanessa, on this side to take, matters kind of into her own hands and be somebody that you can't just run over when it comes to Kobe's legacy in the shoe game.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Applauds to her. Apparently, like you said, you've heard what I've heard. She didn't like the way they were rolling out the releases and the availability of them and whatnot. Eugene, have you ever had a pair of Kobe's? I've never actually had a pair of Kobe's, but I like those Grinches that they just showed. Those all lime green joints. If I could, those would be the ones I would get. What's your favorite pair of Kobe's, Eugene?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got Kobe's on my feet right now, bro. I hooped in Kobe's for the last maybe 11 years. Ever since I think the Kobe 5 and the Kobe 6 was probably my favorite Kobe to hoop in, but I've definitely played in Kobe's for the last at least 10 to 11 years. And it's going to be weird to see a Kobe line without a swoosh on it, but
it used to be 3 stripes. Remember when he was with Adidas?
And I don't even remember which Kobe this is. They kind of beat now, but they like my walking shoes.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, I could see Kobe. I could see Vanessa linking up with Yi Ling or Mi Ning, whatever that Chinese D Wade and Donovan Mitchell and all these guys are leaning to. You know how big Kobe is over there in China. So go get the bag, Vanessa. But T, what's something you said about Nike? They are afforded the luxury to fumble a bag, bro. They are over caking up. And this.
Would I be out of line if I suggested a Kobe Yeezy Adidas combination? I feel like that would be kind of dope. But those Kobe's might be a little bit too expensive. But anyway,
let down Yeezy, man. I see Yeezy and D Rose have something in the works.
Yeah, man. That's what I was gonna say, Gino. At least Yeezy is coming from somebody that I feel like with respect and honor Kobe's legacy. You know what I mean? That would be interesting, Rome. I'm kind of intrigued by that one.
See, they're saying you in the private chat. I think that'd be dope.
And don't forget before Kobe jumped down with Nike, he had the Adidas joints. They was kind of huff, but they did have that.
It was kind of huff.
They could double back, man. You never know.
Yeah, I think Yeezy could double back and put something nice together. I'm just rooting for Chicago. Anyways, in other NBA news, fellas, Chicago Sun Dwayne Wade bought an ownership stake in the Utah Jazz. So according to reports, D Wade will have an active role in the franchise, and he had this to say about the news. I'll go ahead and read. This goes way beyond the dream. I had to just play basketball in the NBA, Wade told ESPN. I've seen Shaq do it in Sacramento. I've seen Grant Hill do it in Atlanta. I've seen Jordan do it in Charlotte. To make real change, this is where you have to be, at the top. And Ryan knows that. I'm thankful for him. And I know that too. I bring a lot to this partnership outside of just my basketball knowledge and skills. That's D Wade told ESPN. And if D Wade is as active as an owner as he hopes to be, what do you guys hope to see from him in this position, Terrence?
You know what? I hope that, honestly, D Wade is one of my favorite people in the, in the NBA since, I've been a kid. And to see him as an owner with a team like the Jazz, who's up and coming, I'm looking to see how close he's going to be to the players. I mean, you look at the roster, you got a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who probably has used D Wade as like a behind the scene kind of advisor or trainer, or whatever. But to have him in close quarters is kind of cool, But like you said, we've seen it before. We've seen Mike in Charlotte. Even LeBron, is doing the ownership thing when it comes to baseball in Boston. A lot of people were kind of surprised that it wasn't in Miami. But again, like Wade said, MJ went, and called a piece of the Charlotte Hornets, even though he played with the Chicago Bulls and the Washington Wizards. So the Heat were his basketball home. Now it's cool to see that the Jazz are going to be his ownership home. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it does in the, over the next couple of years with D Wade, as an owner.
It's your boy Rom J. I'm here with the bigs, Terrence, Eugene. These guys got the access. They got the sauce. They've been in the locker rooms. They've been on the field. They've been on the courts. They've been on the diamonds, whatever y'all want to call it. They've been there. And they, like I said, they got the scoop now, especially during COVID, where we all might not be able to get so close. These guys can still get close. Listen, before I let you guys go, I got to ask you, Gene, covering sports, it must be a dream come true for you both. Just what's your favorite part about it all, just doing what you do?
My favorite part by far is being able to build relationships, man, because and just being those other guys that, like our tagline says on our Twitter page, we're providing authentic sports coverage that you can trust. And, when you go in these locker rooms and when you meet these coaches and these managers and these owners and these players, they want to, first of all, you have to show professionalism. So a lot of people see us at these games and they see us talking to players and doing stuff, but they don't know all of the time we've spent off of the cameras studying and, doing numbers and finding out all this different information, preparing us to go around these guys and show that, we are guys that you can trust. So I think being able to go around those guys, build relationships with the players, be authentic in ourselves and not try to be something that we're not. And, D Rose, for example, like a lot of people to this day, I think the D Rose interview that we did was probably our, I wouldn't say our claim to fame, but it kind of brought light to who we are, because a lot of people say that they've never seen D Rose as open and as easy as he was with us. And like T said, we traveled to D Rose was like, man, if y'all come to LA, I got y'all. Don't even worry. Whatever y'all need, I got y'all. The first time he saw us at a Bulls practice, he pulled us to the side, took my phone, put his number in my phone and said, whatever y'all need, I got y'all. Don't hesitate. And being able to do that with the Cubs, with Jason Hayward and our boy Carl Edwards Jr., being able to have the #1 nickname in Major League Baseball, how we donned Javier Baez El Mago, or T being able to form a relationship with Khalil Mack and, Akeem Hicks and guys like that. And then on the high school scene, man, being able to see kids like Io DeSumo, whose first taste of media was with the bigs, and Taylor Horton Tucker, who's now with the Lakers, and
Wow.
Just a number of guys. Ed Howard, with the Cubs first round draft pick. Things like that are the most important aspect of this journey for me.
Terrence, same thing, brother. Black men in media, following your dreams, seeing your dreams come true. How does it feel to be able to do what you guys do?
First of all, I couldn't say it any better than the way my brother Eugene just said it, man. The only thing I can add is that, the guys that have held us down on our path, man, guys like Cameron Smith, Lawrence Holmes, Evan Turner, and Brian Crawford, Sean Marcel, Morgan, and Tiff at the Tribe. That has been my favorite part of this journey, man, is finding people, finding our tribe, finding people with similar aspirations, similar dreams and goals, man. That I don't think I can say enough what it means when it comes to inspiration or trying to find inspiration on this path. I don't have to look any further than my circle. And that means a lot to me personally. So I feel like it's always going to be about the people that are there with you when it comes to, my favorite part, man. I'm a family dude, and I consider Gino and all the people I just named family. So that's been my favorite part.
Wow. And we consider you guys family over here at the Tribe. We appreciate you guys for stopping by, man. Thank you guys. I've been looking forward to another sports show. I wouldn't dream of doing it with anybody other than the bigs. So we want to thank you guys for stopping by. We Real Chicago, guys. It's been a pleasure as always. Fellas, take care. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Hey, Rome, man, before we go, bro, I see huge things from you in the future, Joe. You got the voice, you got the look, you got it down pat. Shout out to Tiff and Morgan for, adding you to the squad. Like T said, when we got up with you during All-Star Weekend, man, you were, just touching the surface, and I saw something in you, and me and T talked about it a couple different times, but just seeing you grow and seeing you hold this segment down and create your own lane with the help of those beautiful ladies over there, man. I see huge things from you in the future, and the Tribe is like they like our little sisters, man. So we always rooting for y'all, and we're a DM, a phone call, a text, or however else you want to reach us. We right here, man. So
guys, I appreciate that coming from you guys. That means a lot. True OGs in the game. Shout out to my team. Yes, my ladies, my sitter, Morgan, Tiffany, my producer, Tony, all the ladies who work on my graphics, Robin, my research team, Chelsea, tons of ladies, beautiful Black women here at the Tribe. It's your boy, Rome J. We Real Chicago. We want to thank the bigs, Eugene and Terrence, one more time for coming through. Fellas, truly appreciate you guys.
Much love, man.
Most definitely. Enjoy the rest of your night, fellas.
Yeah.
All right. And thank you guys, all you guys at home who tuned in for the show. That's our show. Thank you to Terrence and Eugene, the bigs, once again, my special guest, for coming through tonight. And if you guys have any questions about the show or want to reach out to us, go ahead and hit us up at connect@thetribe.com. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube page, and make sure you hit that little dingly bell. It's like a bell, the bell, the little notification bell. Whenever we go live, it will let you know so you don't miss the Tribe or your boy Rome J every time. You can find me on Twitter at the RomeJ_ and on Instagram at RomeJ_TV. I'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. It's your boy Rome J and the Tribe. Like Sammy Sosa, I'm signing out. Peace.